Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. And welcome to another episode of Raw America. I'm your host, as always, Vlad Mavis, and let's get into it, shall we? We begin in Washington, where a partial government shutdown is continuing to disrupt All right, let's do that again. We begin in Washington, where a partial government shutdown is continuing to disrupt the Department of Homeland Security. At the center of the standoff, immigration policy, congressional Democrats and Republicans remain locked in disagreement over enforcement and policies. Meanwhile, thousands of federal workers, especially TSA agents, have been working without pay. Now, let's talk about that for a second. I've worked security most of my life, and many people have tried to get me to work at TSA, but I will say this right now, I will never work at TSA. I don't know how people do it, and this is why. Unless they fix this, unless Congress fixes this, it gets their head out of their fucking asses with this, where every time there's a shutdown, they're basically cut off from pay until the shutdown is over. I mean, to me, that's just ridiculous. These men and women who are screening people, going through the airport, making sure they don't have any, guns, knives, explosives, anything like that before they get onto a plane. And you're not even paying them. And who knows when they're going to get paid again. They need to understand that they have bills to pay, whether it's medical insurance, whether it's car insurance, rent, all that stuff. Groceries, yes, they can get on food stamps, which I think a lot of them are, just as, a fallback in case something like this happens. But this is, to me, it's the biggest travesty in the world that Congress has not figured out a way to pay these TSA agents. And they're playing legislative ping pong right now, where it's going back and forth. The House and Senate can't agree on anything. And so now we're in a state of congressional paralysis. So while TSA agents are waiting to get paid, now President Trump has taken matters into his own hands and signed an executive order ordering the Department of Homeland Security to pay TSA agents. And honestly, who could blame him? I doubt he's going to get challenged in court over this. I mean, because now it's like, if they challenge him in court, that means that there's a chance that TSA agents won't get paid. So technically, they're letting the president break the law here, because it's Congress that's supposed to do the funding, but he's taking matters into his own hands. So I don't think anybody's going to stop him, because honestly, if I was president, I'd probably do it too, because it's ridiculous that these TSA officers are going this long without pay. They got families to feed, they got rent to pay, and some of them have quit out of protest or called in sick. But there's going to become a time where if they do not open the government soon, that these TSA agents are going to walk off the job. And then what are you going to do? That puts the airports in crisis mode at that point. So what do you do? Well, I don't know. I don't know what you do. But they better figure out something and get their head out of their fucking asses and do something. Now, Trump has been trying to get his SAVE Act to his desk, which they don't have the votes. I mean, I hate to break it to you, they don't. John Thune does not have the votes. He has told the president time and time again, I simply do not have the votes for it to pass the Senate. And Democrats are absolutely refusing to let this legislation go to Trump so he could sign it into law. Because they say that if you're like married women and who've had their name change, whatever, would have to go and get everything sorted out before they'd be able to vote. So what do you do? I mean, not only that, it's so you have the president, the biggest hypocrite in the world, saying, we need to get rid of mail-in voting. We need to get rid of it. We have to. That's how they rig elections. But with me, it's okay. It's okay if I do it. It's okay. So yeah, this fucking hypocrite decides, oh, I want to ban mail-in voting, but yet what does he do? He votes by mail. So the guy who wants you to have to go all the way to a voting place to vote in person, that this lazy fuck votes by mail. Oh, well, they couldn't blah, blah, blah. It's like, you could have went to a polling place. He could have walked into a polling place being escorted by the Secret Service, because that's, what they do. They got to make sure that the president is protected. And he could have cast his ballot. But what does he do? He decides, oh, I'm going to mail my ballot. But you can't. So, the biggest level of hypocrisy I have ever seen a president do. So, while Congress is playing legislative ping pong, did I say that already? I don't remember if I said that already. He's decided to be the biggest hypocrite in the world, to be like, I'm gonna vote by mail, even though nobody else should. See, this is why. He thinks he should be exempt from this stuff. He believes he's above the law. Let's not forget that. Which he is not. So, with that being said, let's move on to something else. Across the country this week, mass protests have erupted under the banner No Kings. Millions of Americans participated in demonstrations opposing administration policies, including immigration enforcement and the outgoing conflict in Iran. The protests represent one of the largest coordinated political movements in recent years. Prominent progressive figures like Bernie Sanders, did I say Sanders? Bernie Sanders join demonstrators, highlighting growing grassroots and deep political divisions nationwide. Public unrest is rising and political polarization is intensifying because of one dumbass in the White House who keeps pouring gasoline on the fires. They try to say, we need to cool the temperature. We need to cool the temperature. That's like having a campfire, you having a extinguisher, and it's almost out, and then here comes Trump with a gallon of gasoline, pours it over, and just reignites the fire. So, oh man, I tell you, the nerve of this guy. So, yeah, it is definitely the absolute nerve of him. But there was actually a funny thing that happened. I actually want to get into this. So there was a funny thing that happened this past week at the CPAC conference. For those who don't know, I can't remember what CPAC stands for. Is it like Conservative Political Action Conference? I think is what it is. I just remember like a couple years ago, I was absolutely disgusted with it because it was basically a dictator's convention. You had the president of El Salvador there, Nayib Bukele. You had the guy from Argentina. You had Viktor Orban from Hungary, which probably a lot of his people are going hungry because of his policies. But anyways, there's that. So I'm trying to figure out. Oh, there we go. But anyways, getting on to other topics. I was trying to find the record button, okay? Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Fucking watching you. Let's see here. What else do we have right now? We have, oh, yes. Okay. So here's something interesting that has to involve AI. Turning to the 2020 okay, let me try that again. Turning to the 2026 election cycle, there's a growing concern about the role of artificial intelligence in campaigns. Deepfake videos, realistic but entirely fabricated, are becoming more common. These AI generated clips are cheap to produce and increasingly difficult to detect, raising the serious question about misinformation and election integrity. I almost said erection integrity. I literally almost said erection integrity. Yes, erection integrity. Okay. So far, federal regulation has struggled to keep pace with the technology. So here's something interesting, and this is what I I fear that the Trump administration is going to do, and that is weaponize AI, doing deepfakes, having the Trump administration. I mean, he's not up for re-election this year, but a lot of Republicans are. Like, he might spread fall have a AI of oh god, Thomas Massey. There we go, because Massey's gone under his skin a lot. Of just saying something like, I'm a radical leftist, I enjoy communism, blah blah blah, whatever the case may be, something outrageous. So to tank him in the election, it is definitely worrying in a way that how AI has evolved. I mean, everything from it's. I mean, people are afraid that there's going to be an AI takeover. Well, newsflash, it's happening. It's taking over videos. It's taking over music. It's. I mean, you look at what happened with C Dance 2.0. For those who don't know, C Dance is this new AI technology that ByteDance, the creators of TikTok, are experimenting with, I guess. It's available in China. It's not available over here in the US yet, but they are working on getting it available in the US. But yeah, this is just creepy. I mean, I saw a video. There's a video of Brad Pitt fighting Tom Cruise, and it looked so realistic. Many people thought it was a new trailer, and people were just amazed how realistic it looked. I wouldn't be surprised if both Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt were like getting messages like, "Oh, sweet, movie you're in," and they're just looking at it with Brad Pitt or Ted Cruz, depending on who it is, and they're just going, "Wait, I'm not in a new movie with Ted Cruz or Brad Pitt. What?" So, and they, I think, had to get on their social media to debunk it, be like, no, this is not a new movie I'm being in. Nothing. Like, just disregard it. This is total AI, which is kind of creepy on how realistic it looks. So, yeah, that's where all the, like, Kung Fu Cat videos, I think, are coming from, which is kind of hilarious. It's these, what is it? It's like the 70s Kung Fu movie with cats who are fighting like some kung fu master, and then the cat either gets out like a revolver or a rocket launcher and fires it at the guy. So if you haven't checked that out, it's pretty funny. But just, yeah, people were going crazy with the copyright infringement too. I mean, there was like this video of you had like Optimus Prime from Transformers, you had the Avengers, you had Harry Potter, you had Pikachu from Pokemon, you had all these different just characters, and it was getting so bad that they ended up having to, Disney and all the people that own the licensing, the trademarks for these characters, own the IP, the intellectual property, were sending cease and desist letters to ByteDance and be like, hey, knock it off. Like, you're using our characters without our consent. So knock it off. So because of this, because of the pushback, ByteDance actually had to go in and correct that so people couldn't make, trademarked and copyrighted characters from Marvel, DC, anything like that. Which kind of sucks, because I really wanted somebody to make a Marvel, DC video about, since Warner Brothers and Disney aren't going to get around to it. You know what's amazing? They'll do it in the comics, but they won't go outside the comics. They won't go outside the comics. They'll do crossovers in the comics between DC and Marvel, but they'll never go outside the comics. I don't know why. They just won't. So, I mean, it's very scary to see how AI is advancing and evolving over the years. I mean, you can't even... What, wasn't there like some AI artist that just got signed to a major label? Yeah, I kid you not. There actually is an AI artist that got signed to a major record label. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So, wasn't I talking about CPAC? I mentioned CPAC a while and then I got off track. Speaking of CPAC, so there was a funny thing that happened at CPAC since I'm kind of done talking about AI for right now. So getting back to CPAC, man, I'm just like Donald Trump, I swear. I'm just like all over the place when it comes to talking. So Trump wasn't there. I don't know if JD Vance was there. I can't remember, but Trump wasn't able to make it. But there was a guy, some mega guy, I can't remember his name, that came out on stage and was like, "Who wants to see impeachment?" And they started cheering. Like, the crowd actually started cheering, and he just like started laughing. He's like, okay, let's try it again. Who wants to see impeachment? And then they started cheering again.
If you would like to see impeachment hearings? No, that was the wrong answer. Let me try it again. How many of you would like to see impeachment hearings? No.
Basically, a red flag saying that you are fucked. Conservatives are pissed right now. You said you were going to end the forever wars. Now we're attacking Iran and might be deploying troops in Iran, since he's sending troops over there who are basically sitting there waiting for their next order. You know, are we doing this? Are we invading? Are we not invading? What's going on? So they're just sitting there, just twiddling their thumbs, being like, okay, what's happening? But let's see, what else is in the news? So yeah, there's the legislative ping pong that's going around. So another thing that is happening is the No Kings protests. So these are nationwide protests, and I have seen the pictures of, and I can't tell you how many people. I cannot tell you how many people are at these rallies, at these protests. It is unbelievable. It is a sea of people, which I'm tempted, if I was there, I'd be tempted to see if I could crowd surf. No, I'm joking. The American people are pissed off. They are pissed off at this guy. They are pissed off at the president. They're sick of the corruption. They are sick of the war in Iran. Coming from a guy that said, "I'm gonna end the forever wars." No, motherfucker, you're not ending the forever wars. You're trying to start the motherfucking forever wars. Because Lindsey Graham is all about Israel first. He's all about Israel first. Oops. All right, just hold on just a second. Doing timestamps so I can make shorts out of this video. So there's just a lot of chaos with it. I mean, Lindsey Graham is the biggest neocon there is. He is using Trump. He wants to end the forever wars, but it's kind of hard to do that, Donnie, when you have Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham in your ear saying war, 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 and Mark Levin. Okay, let me tell you something. All three of those people I just mentioned, Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, Marco Rubio, were anti-Trump. Lindsey Graham, when Trump first started running, said, MAGA can go to hell. He said that. In fact, do I have a video? I think I do. I think I do have a video on that. Yeah, I do have a video on it. Let's go to the video.
What is your reaction to hearing what Donald Trump says?
I'm disgusted. Well, I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. I think what you like about him, he appears to be strong when the rest of us are weak. He's a very successful businessman, and he's going to make everything great. He's going to take all the problems of the world and put them in a box and make your life better. That's what he's selling. Here's what you're buying. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I've been in the Air Force for 33 years. I retired this June. He's the ISIL Man of the Year, by the way.
Yeah, you see? You see what I mean? He was anti-Trump to begin with. He only became pro-MAGA because he knew that Trump was popular within the party. He knew that if he went against Trump, if he criticized Trump, he'd be voted out for office. I mean, look what happened to Adam Kinzinger. Look at what happened to Liz Cheney. They were voted out because they stood up to Trump. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. They should have. Because after what happened at January 6th, the guy could not accept that he lost. He still goes on to this day, almost every single speech. The 2020 election was rigged. It was stolen. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, go shove it up your ass, motherfucker. So, that's what I'm trying to say. And then you had Marco Rubio that ran against him. And made fun of him having tiny little hands. Ted Cruz ran against him too. Ted Cruz is even on camera at the debate telling the American people why tariffs are a bad idea. Okay. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's get to Mark Levin. The biggest neocon himself, the Fox News, the neocon of neocons on Fox News, along with Sean Insanity, or Sean Hannity, as I like to call him, but I like to, call him Sean Insanity, who are getting into the presidency here. You have literally, where's my, here's a pen. Here's a pen. I'm now going to do an impression of Sean Hannity on Fox News. Mr. President, we need to go to war. We need to. Because we are America. And if you don't go to war, you are not American. You need to go to war. Mr. President, if you do not go to war, you're a communist. You're a far-left communist, Mr. President, and I don't want to believe that. Because you, Mr. President, are a messiah. Your head should be on Mount Rushmore. There should be a Trump memorial. Hell, there should be even a Navy ship named after you, called the USS Donald Trump. Okay. Sorry, the squinting I had to do for the entire thing just hurt my eyes. Okay. So, how do you keep your seat? If you're a Republican and you're anti-Trump, well, you kiss his ass. That's exactly what Marco Rubio and Lindsey Graham did. They kissed his ass because they knew that they could not go against him because they would be voted out of office. Lindsey Graham is a snake. He's always been a snake. And if you watch him, he's up for re-election. He is doing this because he doesn't want to get voted out. But I guarantee you, once the Senate primaries in South Carolina are over and he becomes the Republican nominee, he's going to turn on Trump in a heartbeat. He's going to go be anti-Trump because he will have, the primaries are over, he basically will have immunity. I mean, South Carolina is not going to elect a Democrat. I mean, it's a ruby red state. They're just not going to do it. So he just has to get past the primaries. Once he becomes the Republican nominee, he's going to get reelected. And then it's 6 more years of Lindsey the warmonger Graham. And by the time he's up for reelection, Trump's going to be long gone because he'll be elected to another 6 years in Congress. So that's where I'm saying. But in the meantime, there is a Republican exodus going on. People are leaving left and right, especially out of the House. I think there was just one guy that, here, let me, something from Newsweek. Trump's approval rating hits rock bottom with voters who helped him win. Well, no fucking shit. No fucking shit. That's going to be, that's, his polling is in the shitter, and people are Republicans are getting the hell out of Dodge because they know that they're not going to stick around. They're on a shit. They're jumping ship right now. You had Don Bacon. You have what's his name? Jody Ernst, senator from Iowa. She's even. Because she knows, and I guarantee it has to do with that town hall she had last year, where people just are outraged and everything. And she thinks that she probably won't get reelected. Because she was up for reelection. But honestly, she served what? 2 terms in Congress, right? That's how it should be. She certainly served more than 2 terms in Congress, and that goes for every senator. As for the House, it should be 4 terms. And that's where I'm getting right now. There needs to be term limits. Do you know how many people are running for re-election that are in there? You have Maxine Waters, the far left Democrat, Maxine Waters, who has been in office for 30 years. 30 fucking years. 30 years too long, if you ask me. This is, and it's bullshit. I wish the founding fathers would have put term limits for the legislative and executive branch. We did get the executive down, but that's because FDR ran for 4 terms. But for the legislative branch, we need to get that done. There needs to be term limits. 2 terms for senators, which that means they would serve a total of 12 years in Congress, and then 4 for the House. Or maybe 3. 3, 4. Either one. I'll take either one because, well, I mean, I'll cut him some slack with 4, even though, but, I don't know. No, 4 I think is good because that's also 12 years. So no matter if you're in the Senate or the House, maximum of 12 years. I think there should be term limits for the Supreme Court, too. So, but of course, they're not going to do it because as far as Republicans are concerned, they look at it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They failed to relinquish power, which is something George Washington warned us about. Because let me tell you something else. While Trump is wreaking havoc in our government, what in the God's name is happening? I'm sorry, this is... Okay. So, getting back to what I was saying, it is just beyond... What is that? Outrageous what Trump is doing to us. Here, what there's another thing. Here, I just passed it. Oh, here, I gotta use both hands for this. Okay, here's a article from the Washington Examiner. Trump's Jones Act waiver undermines his own maritime agenda. No surprise there. So, where was I going? I'm in all types of directions, aren't I? But yeah, we were talking about term limits. I want to get back to the No Kings protest for a minute. You know, I don't care if I'm all over the place. Fuck it. You're not going to believe what the Republicans said about this. Oh, these are people that have Trump derangement syndrome. Well, yes, Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. It's his followers that have it. But you know, Trump is immune from Trump derangement syndrome, but he does have something else. He does have something else, and that is Caesar syndrome. And for those who don't know what Caesar syndrome is, here, let me get on ChatGPT so I could tell you. Here, use my phone here for a second. What is Caesar syndrome? Okay, here it is. Caesar syndrome isn't an official medical or psychological diagnosis, but is, I can't pronounce that word, colloquial term? I don't know. I can't. People use to describe a pattern of thinking and behavior similar to what they imagine Julius Caesar represented. In simple terms, it refers to someone who sees themselves as destined for power or greatness, check, believes that they are above rules, laws, or institutions, check, feels uniquely qualified to lead or control others, check, may justify extreme actions as necessary for a greater good, check. Psychological angle. It is often used to loosely describe traits associated with narcissism, messiah complex, and authoritarian tendencies. Check, check, check. Why Caesar? Yes, that's right. President checks all the three of those boxes. Why Caesar? Julius Caesar rose to power in the Roman Republic, centralized authority in himself, crossed legal boundaries like the Rubicon, became a dictator for life. So the term symbolizes someone who believes they must take control even if it means breaking the system. Yep. Ding ding. Yes, Caesar syndrome. I need to tell somebody about that. I need to tell like a politician. Next time somebody says they have Trump, you have Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, well, that's coming from a guy, our president, that has Caesar syndrome. Actually, have him. Here, can we pop it up? Caesar syndrome.
Article 2. Nobody ever mentions Article 2.
More importantly, Article 2 allows me to do whatever I want.
Caesar. Yeah, that's actually a picture I had on ChatGPT of Donald Trump as a Roman emperor, because why not? Because everybody can agree that he doesn't want to be a king. You know, maybe it shouldn't be called the No Kings protest. Maybe it should be called the No Emperor protest. No emperors. Because let's face it, he wouldn't be a king. If if it were up to him, he'd be an emperor. He would love to be an open emperor. If he could go back in time, he would probably make a deal with, let's say, somebody like Marcus Aurelius. No. There needs to be somebody else. Maybe Commodus. Maybe, I don't know. But he would love to trade. I think, honestly, Trump would love to be the emperor of the Roman Empire instead, because as much as he said, I could do, yeah, he thinks he could do whatever the hell he wants. And then there's an article from CNN. Iran has a new demand to end the war, and it could bring in billions and billions and billions and billions. Well, you know, Trump he loves money. He loves his money. What can I say? I love money. I love everything there is to know about money. So, let's see what else is happening in the world today. Well, more on the Iran war. Speaking of foreign policy, the ongoing conflict with Iran continues to shape domestic politics. While officials suggest military operations could conclude within weeks, the situation remains volatile. The war is influencing everything from congressional debates to public opinion back home. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's getting like just ridiculous. And from what I've heard, there is like been a Democrat exodus with AI PAC. For those who don't know, this AI PAC is a PAC that endorses, there we go, that's the word, pro-Israel candidates. And there's been a lot of candidates that have ended up like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, that have distanced themselves from AIPAC because they do not like the direction that it is going in. So, ooh, here's something new. In a rare moment of bipartisan cooperation. My God, what? What? Is it possible? That is impossible, I tell you. Lawmakers are advancing new efforts to regulate social media, particularly to protect children online. Momentum behind the legislation, like the Kids Online Safety Act, is as pressure mounts on tech companies to address harm to minors. So, yeah, there's that. It doesn't say here exactly what they've proposed, but looks like they're looking into it finally, but we'll see what happens. And finally, in a story that blurs the line between here, let me do that again. And finally, in a story that blurs the line between politics and spectacle, a UFC event is reportedly being planned at the White House. Supporters say it's a bold way to connect with voters. Critics argue it underscores a broader trend of politics becoming increasingly theatrical. There, I said it right. So yeah, UFC event at the UFC event at the White. You know what? Actually, what I want to see, I would love to actually see this, but I don't think Italy will ever allow it. I would love to see a UFC event at the Roman Coliseum. I mean, come on, because why not, right? Come on, these guys are basically modern day gladiators. You might as well. I mean, come on, how awesome would that be to have a UFC event in the Roman Coliseum? Do I think it will happen? Probably not, but it would be awesome. I mean, I'm sure Trump would love to, be in the VIP seat where the emperor sat and have grapes, be fed grapes. Let him go. He's a good supporter and everything else. People of Rome, I want to welcome you to the most fantastic, most glorious UFC event here at the Roman Coliseum. I wish I was Emperor of Rome. I would make a great emperor. I would. Show the picture again. Okay, there we go. So yeah, there's that. So what else can we talk about? Let's talk about the two-party system, for example. I want to talk about this. Why the fuck? There was a study that came out that there are more registered Republicans than there are registered Democrats and registered Republicans. Why the fuck is it that independents like myself think there's only two fucking choices in this world? You either vote Democrat, Republican. Look, we had a Democrat in the White House with Joe Biden. Look how that turned out. He didn't do shit. And people think that, oh, well, I'm going to vote Trump or Republican in because, well, gas was cheaper. The guy literally incited an insurrection, for God's sakes, and you want this guy back in the White House? He's 34-time convicted felon. He fails to release the Epstein files. He did everything he can to make sure that they did not release him. Another thing is that there's a recording. Now, I don't know if this recording is legitimate or not. I have not seen any news networks broadcast it. I have not seen any of that stuff yet. So I don't know if it's official. I don't know if it's AI, but there is a recording that is going viral on Instagram and probably TikTok, and probably YouTube too. There is a recording that oh God, sorry. A recording of Donald Trump saying, "Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. We're not releasing the Epstein files. Start a war if you have to." Now, I wonder too, if that recording was real, is that why he's attacking Iran? To try to deter people from the Epstein files. Well, newsflash, Mr. President, the Epstein files ain't going anywhere, buddy. They are going to be a thorn in your side for the rest of the time you are president. And that's why I think he's really panicking about the midterms, because he knows that his entire cabinet is going to be under investigation. He knows this. So he's doing everything he can to make sure Republicans keep control of both houses. And I mean, so what else did the recording say? It also said, if I'm going down, I'm bringing you with me. Yes. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is a real recording. I don't know if it's AI. It has not been confirmed if that was a real phone call that Trump had. I don't know. I know that he is getting defensive. He is getting angrier every time somebody brings up the Epstein files. He hates it. He refuses to take questions about it, everything. But I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people that are pissed off with him right now. People that voted for him in 2024. And if you saw my video last week, there was a woman that went on NBC and called him a worthless pile of shit. Not a piece of shit, pile of shit. So yeah, if you want to go watch that video, you can watch it in my last video. Man, it's just been crazy. So, but getting back to the two-party system, I mean, it's just, I think next week, that's what we'll talk about. We'll talk about why I'm against the two-party duopoly and all that fun stuff. So, it's just insane what is happening. So, you have Congress playing legislative ping pong with the TSA, with basically the TSA's paychecks. I mean, these people got to get paid. They're basically volunteers at this point. So they got to get paid. Well, how do you do that? Well, I don't know. Except pass legislation. But now, not only if they do get it past the House, if they do get it past the Senate, then it goes to Trump's desk. So here's another thing. They got to make sure that he doesn't veto it, because if he vetoes it, then, I mean, could they have the votes to override his veto? Yes, but they don't know for sure. They would have to get enough senators on board to override his vetoes. And obviously Trump's not going to be too happy about that. He could coerce him and be like, don't you dare, veto it. Don't you dare override my veto. If you override my veto, I will primary you. You understand that? I will primary you. I will get somebody else to take your seat in the Senate. So there's that. I just can't believe what is happening in our world. It's just, but yeah, the No Kings are taking off. I'm going just everywhere with this. I swear. So the No Kings rally. You have the RNC saying that, oh, these are people that hate America. These people don't hate America. You hate America, obviously. That is the dumbest fucking thing. All those people hate America. If all those people hated America, I think you'd have a problem. What's this? You're going to call them all domestic terrorists? You never stopped. I mean, that didn't stop you. I mean, because if those are domestic terrorists, I mean, it'd be 1776 all over again. I don't think our military would be able to stop that many people. But who knows? So these people love they're expressing their First Amendment right. You know, and it's funny, that's something the redcoats, the British, would say back in the day. If you were protesting, they would say, oh, they hate the king. They hate us. They hate our government. They hate the king. They're committing treason against the king. They would have labeled somebody like Paul Revere a domestic terrorist for warning the others that the British were coming. So, what are we going on? Okay, so we're going to about 46 minutes here. But just what has happened to our country is just ridiculous. I mean, you had this guy saying he was going to make America affordable again. Now he calls it a Democratic hoax. He said he was going to end the forever wars, but yet here he is starting a war with Iran. I mean, where do you go? Where do you go? So shout out to those people at the No Kings rally who are actually true Americans who actually love their country. Unlike a certain individual in the White House who most likely hates our country because he keeps trampling on our Constitution every single chance he gets. But karma is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Karma is coming this year in the midterms. Make sure you get out there and vote, because I don't know about you guys, I can't handle another 2 years of all this bullshit that's happening. All this corruption, everything. I mean, I will say this right now, that the Republicans have pretty much lost. They know it. I mean, unless they get gas down, but if gas keeps surging the way it is, I mean, from where I'm at, it's almost or at $5 a gallon. So I mean, it's bad. So they got high gas prices. Affordability is still a problem. You have inflation still a problem. And dumbass has made it worse with his tariffs, which he still has not paid back. I don't think he's paid back at all. I don't think he plans on paying it back because he's just that way, even though the Supreme Court told him that he has to pay it back. So, and he's attacking the Supreme Court when people have told them to not do that. So, he even went on about how they're, they didn't overturn the 2020 election. Well, newsflash, dumbass, is because you don't have any evidence that it was actually rigged. Now, do you? No, you've been talking about it for going on 6 years now, and you still do not have any evidence that it was stolen. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this podcast, episode 3 of Raw Republic. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say, but yeah, hit that like and subscribe button. It would help me immensely. Thank you guys for watching again. I will be back next week with episode 4, A New Hope. No, I'm joking. But there's going to be an episode 4, but it's not going to be called A New Hope. No, there's a Star Wars reference. So Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Good night, America.